What if your reptile's calcium routine was missing one fresh living ingredient? What if your kitchen counter could grow a calcium-rich superfood that's fresher than anything you can buy in a jar? Today, I'm showing you the perpetual microgreen rotation reptile keepers are starting to add to their setups in 2026. Not instead of calcium supplements and UVB lighting, but alongside them. A simple living system that can help provide fresh, nutrient-dense greens on a continuous basis while supporting a healthy reptile diet. Before we begin, this system is intended for herbivorous and omnivorous reptiles that regularly eat greens, including bearded dragons, tortoises, uromastyx, and certain iguanas. For years, reptile owners have relied on calcium powders, and that's still one of the best tools available. When combined with proper UVB lighting, calcium supplementation plays a major role in helping prevent metabolic bone disease. But powder alone isn't the entire picture. Even today, metabolic bone disease remains one of the most common preventable health problems in captive reptiles. In many cases, it can be linked to inadequate UVB exposure, inconsistent supplementation, poor dietary variety, or a combination of all three. That's where living microgreens enter the conversation. Not as a replacement for supplements, not as a replacement for UVB, but as a fresh, nutrient-dense addition to a balanced reptile nutrition program. And no, I'm not talking about throwing random sprouts into an enclosure. There's a specific strategy behind this. This rotation focuses on 5 greens: turnip, collards, dandelion, mustard, and endive. Why these 5? Turnip, collard, and dandelion greens are well known among reptile keepers for their favorable calcium to phosphorus ratios. Dandelion, in particular, has been a staple recommendation for many years. Mustard greens and endive help add variety, hydration, and additional nutritional diversity. When harvested as microgreens, some studies have found elevated levels of certain antioxidants and vitamins compared to mature plants. However, research is still ongoing, especially when it comes to mineral content. The goal isn't to claim that microgreens magically contain more calcium than mature greens. The real advantage is diversity. Different greens contain different compounds. Dandelion contains oxalates. Mustard contains naturally occurring goitrogenic compounds. Neither is generally a concern when offered as part of a varied diet. By rotating multiple greens instead of relying on a single favorite, you create a more balanced feeding approach. This is the difference between simply feeding calories and feeding living biology. Now here's the part most reptile owners have never set up: the staggered harvest system. True microgreens typically require between 7 and 12 days from seeding to harvest. That's enough time to develop leaves and establish their nutritional profile. Instead of growing one tray and waiting for it to finish, we use 3 trays running simultaneously. Start a new tray every 2 to 3 days. After the rotation is established, you'll have a fresh tray ready for harvest every 2 to 3 days as well. The growth stages simply overlap. One tray is germinating, one tray is growing, and one tray is ready to harvest. No gaps, no last-minute trips to the store, no wilted greens sitting in the refrigerator. Just a steady supply of fresh vegetation available throughout the week. And the setup itself is surprisingly simple. A basic full-spectrum grow light is usually all that's required. The light drives growth and leaf development, while minerals primarily come from the seed and water source. Once everything is running smoothly, your reptile becomes part of a living ecosystem you've created yourself. As more keepers experiment with fresh microgreen rotations, many report noticing stronger feeding responses and increased enthusiasm during mealtime. Some also describe improvements in overall appearance and coloration. Of course, every reptile is different. These observations are personal experiences, not clinical findings. Proper UVB lighting, correct temperatures, hydration, enclosure design, and veterinary care remain essential components of reptile health. Nutrition supports the foundation. It doesn't replace the foundation. Fresh living greens are simply another tool that can help contribute to a healthy, varied diet. Not a cure, not a shortcut, and not a replacement for proper husbandry. Just one more way to enhance what you're already doing. Reptile nutrition doesn't have to come only from a bottle or a jar. It can also come from tiny living plants growing right beside your coffee maker. A simple, self-sustaining system producing fresh greens week after week. Working alongside the supplements, lighting, and care routines your reptile already depends on. This isn't about replacing modern reptile care. It's about adding another natural layer to it. A living source of variety, a living source of freshness, and one more tool that can help support your reptile's long-term health. Because sometimes the best improvements aren't complicated. They're simply alive. Comment the word reptile below, and I'll send you my favorite calcium-rich microgreen varieties, along with the growing setup I use. And if you'd like to learn how to grow nutrient-dense microgreens right from your kitchen, visit islandmicrogreens.com/101 for a free microgreens masterclass based on over 14 years of growing experience. And now that you know how powerful microgreens can be, the next question is obvious. How do you actually grow them? Click the video on your screen, and I'll show you exactly how to get started.